gavel in a special Board of Alderman meeting for 6:30 on March 16, 2015. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Here.
Alderman Nguyen. Here. Alderman Robertson.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Tui.
Here.
Alderman Leahy.
Here.
Alderman Manister.
Here.
And Alderwoman Saunders.
Here.
Thank you. Consideration and approval of the agenda for the special Board of Alderman meeting. We will have a closed executive session. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. If I could have a motion to go into executive session, please.
So
Motion to
moved.
go into executive session for a legal matter.
Second.
Second. We had a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you want?
Are we going upstairs?
Upstairs.
Okay, we'll meet upstairs and right away.
Motion to
Motion.
return to
No.
regular session.
Close the special meeting.
Oh, motion to adjourn the special meeting of March 16th.
Second? Second. And roll call.
Alderman Harper.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen.
Yes.
Alderman Robertson.
Yes.
Alderman Kramer.
Yes.
Alderman Tui is absent. Alderman Leahy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister.
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes.
Okay. If I could have a motion, no, well, let me see. Before we get started. Lost my agenda for a second. Okay. I'd like to call to order our regular Board of Alderman meeting for March 16, 2015. If you'd all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper.
Here.
Alderman Nguyen.
Here.
Alderman Robertson.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Tui. Alderman Leahy.
Here.
Alderwoman Manister.
Here.
Alderwoman Saunders.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next item, I'm going from memory here because I can't find my agenda, is approval of the agenda for the regular Board of Alderman meeting for March 16, 2015. Thank you.
So moved, Your Honor.
And second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye. I got it.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Abstain.
Okay. Next item, consideration and approval of the minutes from the Board of Alderman meeting from March 2nd, 2015. Any changes? Motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve the board minutes of March 2nd as submitted.
Thank you. And second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item, we are going to have a presentation this evening. We're going to have a presentation from MSD with respect to the Deer Creek Sanitary Sewer and Tunnel Project. Just a little clarification for the board. This presentation is really an introduction of this project to the city. We don't want to talk about any specific properties or property owners. MSD has not made contact with those individuals yet as with respect to the project. Also, all the information with respect to the blasting, which is overseen by St. Louis County, the permitting and oversight for any blasting that would take place if it takes place for this project. Staff is still collecting that information from the county and would bring that back to the board for approval in an ordinance form at a future meeting. So there really isn't going to be that much information on that as well. So with that, I will turn it over to our representatives from MSD, and if they could please introduce themselves, I would appreciate it. So.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Jeff Smith. I work for the Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District. I'm the project manager for the Deer Creek watershed. With me, I also have Mike Stewart with MSD, Steve Hildebrand, project engineer for Parsons, and Eric Lovelace, who's the project manager for Parsons. Parsons is our design consultant that is doing the work on these two projects. Okay. Okay.
Could you want to go ahead and turn out these lights too? I think we're.
They turned off the power.
Oh, you can't? Oh, okay.
Here's the agenda that we're going to talk about this evening. Again, we just finished with the introductions. Real quick background on MSD. This is our stats. We present this at every meeting. I'm not going to go a whole lot into it. We do have the presentation here. But we serve 93 municipalities. We serve 1.4 million people. In 2011, there was a settlement or a consent decree that we settled with the EPA and the Missouri Coalition for the Environment. In 2012, this consent decree went into effect. Basically what that created was a program that we call Project Clear. The three areas we want to focus with you tonight for the Project Clear is Get the Rain Out, which focuses on downspout removal of private homes. We're doing that in all the municipalities around here. We're also doing repair and maintenance of our existing system. But the main one we want to talk to you this evening about is building system improvements. Currently, as part of the building system improvements program, we are building 3 large above-ground storage facilities, 1 high-rate treatment plant, 7 tunnels, and a number of relief sewers. The 2 projects we want to touch on tonight are highlighted in red here: the Deer Creek Tunnel and the DC2, DC3 trunk sewer. This slide shows better up on my screen, but the big pink area is what we call the Deer Creek watershed. It's centrally located in St. Louis County. Brentwood is included within this Deer Creek watershed. Those dots are actually red, but what those are called sanitary sewer overflows. And in Deer Creek, we have 45 SSOs that we are trying to get out of, trying to remove as part of this Project Clear program. The 2 projects I want to talk to you about, the tunnel and the trunk sewer, will help eliminate several of those. The tunnel itself is this orange line right here, and the DC2, DC3 trunk sewer is this blue line. The first project I really want to talk about is our Deer Creek Tunnel. What is a deep tunnel? It's a large pipe that you dig in the rock using a tunnel boring machine. The tunnel is used for storage and conveyance of sanitary sewer waters. In the large tunnel method, it's a proven method of building large public infrastructure. The alignment that you see here, again, is the same as the alignment that we had on that other screen. It touches 5 of the municipalities. We have been in contact with all the municipalities. This is our second time around meeting with Brentwood and Brentwood staff. A couple of statistics for the tunnel. It's about 4 miles long. It's going to start down here at Interstate 44 and Shrewsbury Metrolink, basically. It's going to wind its way up through the municipalities. It's going to be up on Brentwood Boulevard, through the Galleria, and end basically up at Haddington Court. We have it tentatively sized right now at 19 feet inside diameter, and we're about 150 feet below ground. And the tunnel does have 5 drop shafts, which these are connections to where sanitary flow will actually dive into the tunnel itself. This is the project timeline. The last time we were here, we were when we presented, we talked about the geotech investigation. We were about in this area the last time we talked with you all. Obviously now we are completed with phase 1, starting to work on phase 2. We're just getting started. This kind of gives you a really good schematic of, you have the ground up top. You have, in some areas, you have 30 feet of rock. I'm sorry, 30 feet of soil. Then we have what we call rock, and then it gets into very strong rock. All of our borings and our basic geotech investigation is kind of leading us to, we're at about 150 feet below the ground for this particular tunnel. Here's a couple of pictures of what we call a tunnel boring machine. This head has a bunch of numerous cutters, and when it spins, it actually churns through the rock. And this is kind of a hard picture, but this is in one of those drop shafts, 150 feet down. The machine is actually already in the hole, and it's actually starting to take off and progress down and create the tunnel as it goes. The bore head right here, as it churns, it cuts up these little pieces of rock, and as it cuts them up, it sets them on a conveyor belt and sends them out the back, and that's basically what you're seeing here. And these get hauled away, and we get disposed of them. The other two, going back to the tunnel alignment itself, and in the city of Brentwood, we are going to have 2 tunnel shafts. There was 5 total, and there's actually 2 that are located within the city of Brentwood. What we wanted to explain to you, kind of what to expect when you see tunnel shaft construction. It's an active construction site, just like a building. Our contractor is required to secure the site and keep it safe. The shaft excavation itself is actually, it's just a round, it's a big round hole. It'll go down 150 feet. But you'll have a crane set up for rock excavation. When all the excavation will be extracted, we set basically drop shaft liner and basically build it back up in a circular manner all the way back to the top. There will be work crews, work trucks and crew on site before any work would begin. You will at least be notified, the city would be notified. We're going to have several other public meetings as well. And there will always be an MSD representative or inspector, construction manager on site all times. This kind of gives you a good example of a shaft location. It's kind of hard to see in the picture, but we have the fenced off. We have the crane, same kind of thing, fence, with the large crane, but it looks like a typical construction site. Here's the same shaft as we're basically completing the drop shaft. They're doing some finish work, and as you can see, these 5 manhole lids here basically is all that's left after everything is completed. The 2 shaft locations that we want to talk about, this is the first one. Again, with the lighting, and it's a little bit hard to kind of see, but I'll help you walk you through it. This is Brentwood Boulevard. Manchester Road is up here, and this is Norm West Park. What we're calling the Pendleton shaft, here's the tunnel alignment, 150 feet below ground. The shaft location is going to be in this general area. Again, we're looking at 10 to 15 feet diameter shaft going 150 feet below ground. It is a diversion structure, and that it will connect. This is the diversion to the new DC2, DC3 trunk sewer, and I'll get into that project a little bit more in a minute. This is the other diversion site that we have located right here. This is Manchester Road. This is Breckenridge Industrial, thank you. This is Anderson Roofing, the BMW dealership here. We're kind of tucked back in this parking lot right here. Deer Creek kind of runs like this. Black Creek kind of comes up like this. And we're going to be right in this corner here. We're going to be diverting flow from the Black Creek trunk sewer into this drop shaft and on down to the tunnel. So what are the next steps? Basically, we had our initial meeting back in June of 2013. We met last week at the Public Works Committee meeting also. We were asked to present at the meeting tonight, which is what we're doing. But our next steps in moving forward is we would like to begin contacting property owners what we wanted to present to the board. City staff had asked that we present. But what we're looking for is continued coordination with MSD and the city for future meetings, for future progress. Assuming easement, when easement acquisition and everything is complete, we would like to start construction down at Interstate 44 and Shrewsbury exit in like July, summer of 2017. I'm going to switch gears now. I put the general map up again. I want to talk about the DC2, DC3 trunk sewer, which is the blue alignment here. But basically, the trunk sewer is in the middle of the watershed. It serves the entire watershed. We still have the same number of SSOs to remove. Some statistics on the trunk sewer. It's about 20,000 feet long. It affects 3 municipalities. It ranges from 78 inch all the way down to about 4 foot. The average depth is about 25 feet deep. And right now, our estimated construction cost is about $65 million, and we have that broken up into 4 phases. The first phase down here is the phase that goes through the city of Brentwood. I don't have a closer map, but Brentwood Boulevard is right here, Northwest Park, and then we come up Russell, and we get into Brentwood Park, and we stop just short of the Millman Lumber Company right there at Manchester Road. Which brings me to the other question of why we're here. We wanted to talk to you this evening about rock excavation. We want to talk a little bit about blasting versus chipping away at the rock. Chipping away, I'm sure if you have heard it before, it has a very distinct sound. Basically, what we wanted to do was to give you an idea. That's if we choose open excavation, that's what we're going to hear as we move up the line to dig this sewer. What we are proposing and what we have talked with the city staff about, and they've asked us to come present to you all, is blasting. We do think it's less noise. We do think it's a faster excavation. And we do think in the long run it's going to be less disruption. As our contractor would prepare to blast, he has the sewer itself of where the proposed sewer would be. They'll drill down from the top. They'll set charges. They will set blasting mats on top. We'll actually perform the explosion. You see a little ground heave, and then our we'll come in and we'll actually excavate down. They'll install trench boxes, and we will start installing our new pipe 25 feet below the ground. When it's all said and done, and it doesn't go that fast, but we will restore the site. This is just a quick slide that we wanted to put up there. About 3 weeks ago, we did have all 3 municipalities come to MSD, and we had a big session on blasting. We had a representative from St. Louis County show up. We had an expert from a testing company that checks for vibrations, that basically monitors contractors. And we can do that again with future meetings here. But today we basically just wanted to present this idea to you. But basically the way the blasting works is the charge starts here and it expands out, and because there's less resistance going straight up, it's not going to go out this way. There's less resistance straight up. That's kind of how the ground heaves, and that's where it goes. I do have a couple more videos. They're not very long, so bear with me. That's the extent of it. It's not like you see on the cartoons where it's great big stuff. It's very small. It's very controlled. The second video is the same thing, but it has soil cover on top of it. And that's it. It's basically done. Our last video I have to show you is basically the same thing, but with blasting mats installed, and it's from a foreign company, so I apologize for the...
Controle de fogo, explosões e implosões controladas.
Sorry, if the lighting would have been a little better, you could see it, but I have provided this to Bola, so Bola has the presentation. But basically, what will MSD and their contractor do to protect property and homes? Again, before any work would begin, we would have to send out notifications. Again, an MSD representative or a construction manager would always be on site. We are going to adhere to the Missouri Department of Public Safety and St. Louis County blasting requirements. Our contractor is responsible for a safe, secure site. He's responsible for doing home pre-inspections, with it be video, pictures, whatnot. And we'll also be required to do vibration monitoring with seismographs. That's on the contractor. MSD is also planning to have their own independent vibration audits. Basically, they're our own seismographs to check the contractors. And that information can be available to anybody that would want that. Again, the next steps moving forward for the trunk sewer. Again, we had our initial meeting with you all on November 13. We followed up again at the Public Works Committee last week, and we're here again tonight. But we plan to continue contacting property owners for easements. Again, same as the tunnel project. We want to work with coordination with MSD and city staff. Again, when all easement acquisition is complete, we're looking at a tentative date for phase 1 construction starting about August of 2016. So we're a little over a year out still. With that, I will answer some questions.
Great. So, anybody at the board have any questions at this time? Alderman Kramer?
Yes, Your Honor, if I could. Jeff, is that
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
I've got 3 questions for you. You talked about the seismic activity. Is there any historical seismic measurement data that's a part of a study that you have from the past use of that type of excavation?
St. Louis County has limits that they set.
Okay.
I don't know what those are offhand. I wasn't prepared to talk about that tonight. I mean, we can in future meetings. But no, we can get you that information. But that is something that we track all the time on these type of projects. The seismograph recordings, we track them, we log them, and we keep them for anybody that would ask for them.
I guess what I'm after is the layperson's hearing you say that it's quieter, but the actual seismic activity below ground may be more pronounced or not.
It can be. That's why St. Louis County sets the limits as far as if it travels x-axis, y-axis, and kind of a z-axis. But the seismograph can measure all that. And they will make sure that if they're not operating within their permit, we will have to change that. But we've had really good luck in the past. And I can talk about that, the St. Louis County representative can explain that a lot better than I can. But we do have limits. They have set limits.
Okay, got 2 more quick questions for you. Going on to page 7 of the handout that we received, you've got the map on the Deer Creek Tunnel showing the Linden Shaft to the Pendleton Shaft, the red line that goes through the city of Brentwood.
Yes.
Can you speak about the, it looks like it's going down Brentwood Boulevard?
It's directly underneath Brentwood Boulevard, street right-of-way.
Okay.
There should not be any disruption. No one should even really know that we're there.
All right. Once you go subterranean with the equipment, at which intervals do you need to, reverse and come back out?
Good question. I probably should have explained a little bit more detail. When we're going to start at the downstream end at Interstate 44 and the Shrewsbury Metrolink, basically. The machine goes in the ground there, and it will work its way all the way up to the Haddington Court access shaft, and they will pull the machine out of that shaft at Haddington Court. It won't be reversed or anything. It's just a one-time shot, one way.
Okay. And the last question is, I'm a lot more familiar with CSOs than SSOs.
Okay.
How are they similar or different in this regard to your
Well,
presentation?
a CSO it's in the combined sewer area. This area is there is some combined areas in Brentwood, but the SSOs are the red dots account for the SSOs that we are removing as part of this project.
So the CSOs are being kept separate.
Those are a separate project. I'm not involved, but I can get you information and somebody that is. That's a separate project.
Please, if you could. Thank you.
Sure.
That's all I had, Your Honor.
Alderman Leahy?
Jeff, good evening again.
Hi, how are you?
Doing marvelous. You're looking at the chipping or blasting. Is boring been eliminated from the project effort? Or is it still a option that's out there?
We are using boring to go underneath Brentwood Boulevard.
Yeah.
But to answer your question from the other day, we kind of looked down Russell, and it's quite a bit more expensive than the chipping or just the breaking. MSD would prefer to be good stewards of the district's money and use a less expensive technique.
The current plan, and I understand where you're at, your current plan has this ending at the edge of Brentwood where Brentwood connects into Rock Hill, and you're going to come across, you're going to have to bore under Manchester Road also?
Correct.
To work with?
Yes.
The area that you're looking at for your staging, is that going to be a potential blasting area, or are you looking to bore in that area also?
The potential staging for
Where
phase
you were
one
putting,
or for
where
phase
you're,
two?
for the, right now I'm just looking at the stormwater line at 25 feet.
Oh, that's a sanitary line,
Yeah, okay.
the trunk sewer.
Trunk sewer.
Okay.
Is that area over where you were looking at to have your staging area, is that going to be bored underneath that, or would you all look at blasting in that area also?
I'm still not following your question, I'm sorry.
Where you're going to put your pipe, your 25-foot pipe shaft to go down, and it connects to your deep rock pass, that area of your proposal. So I'm on the east side of Brentwood Boulevard.
By Norm West Park.
Yeah. Are
Okay.
you looking to bore that, or are you going to look to blast that area also?
That is looking at like open excavation.
Open excavation, okay. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Well, I do thank you for your time. I will get your information for you. If you would have any other questions, please feel free to get your information to Bola, and she would be happy to hand it over to me.
Alderwoman Saunders?
I just wanted to say thank you too, because I was present for the 2013. You kind of kept us up to date with every step, so I
Well, thank you.
appreciate it. As long as the residents, you make sure they know in advance. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just a little historical information too. We did, MSD did do a project back in the 90s, stormwater separation project, actually from Russell up Collier and Madge Avenue. I think it ended at Madge, up Eulalie and Madge. And they did use blasting for that project as well. At that time, we had our outside engineer oversee the project from the city standpoint. I know they, because it was right through the neighborhood, they went in and videotaped everybody's basements and houses and rooms to make sure that after the project was done, if there were any cracked walls or foundation, that work can be, that damage could be identified and then repaired. But ultimately, I don't believe that we had any after the project was over. So it is something that has been done before in our area. So, okay. Next item. Public hearing, we have none this evening. Bids, Bola, I think we have a few tonight.
Yes, I've asked Brian Nuring with SM Wilson. He is the city's construction manager, advisor on this project, to present these two bid documents.
Okay.
Good evening.
Hi, Brian.
Hi. Yeah, Brian Nearing, I'm Director of Pre-Construction Services for SM Wilson, and along with Chiodini Architects. We've put together the package for the first two. It's bid package 1 for work packages 1 and 2. Select demolition for all the interior work that will come out of the current facility, as well as the ice rink, floors, and ice plant assembly equipment. That has a long lead times, typically with some of that mechanical equipment, so we felt that we needed to get those two packages out to bid right away. We took bids on both packages on the 3rd, opened them here, and we had 2 bidders in each category. The low bidder for work package 1 was Spiritus Wrecking Company, and the low bidder for work package 2 was Total Mechanical Services. Myself and Brent Zalek from SM Wilson, we spoke with both of these apparent low bidders and reviewed scopes with them and make recommendations that the city contracts with those 2 contractors.
Great. Okay, any questions? Alderman Leahy?
I'm a little confused, Brian, on the one, in the one document we got, we were talking about the recapturing of the Freon.
Okay, yeah, let me
And
talk
there was
about
a
that.
discount, and then there's one that
Right.
was offered as state.
Well, and this was misworded just slightly, but I'll
Okay.
explain that to you. When we originally bid the select demolition scope of work, we had asked that those demolition contractors reclaim, and they were to have the value of any Freon refrigerants in the mechanical equipment. And there's quite a bit of R22 refrigerant as part of the ice rink floor system. We later, discussing it as a design team, thought that it may make sense for the city to hire State Mechanical directly to have that material reclaimed earlier in the process so that they can shut the ice down immediately on the 31st and allow the ice removal process to begin. We went back to Spiritus Wrecking, asked them what the cost would be if we removed the Freon refrigerant reclaim from their scope, and it would be an add of $5,000. State Mechanical is offering $1 per pound, and they anticipate between $5,500 and $7,500 of a credit that you would get if you allowed them to do the reclaim. So it would actually be to your advantage to allow them to do that work.
So the documents we got today, putting
So-
state mechanical in.
Would add State Mechanical just to do reclaim work, and it would
Okay.
actually be an add to the base bid value for Spiritus Rec.
Now, based on that, Your Honor, do we need to have something that authorizes the board to sign in for state mechanical
We already have an
They're-
agreement with them.
yeah.
with them, so we don't need to do a third one?
Yeah,
Thank
they-
you.
They perform our maintenance on the system
Yeah,
right
correct.
now, so, right, okay. All right, thanks, Brian.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Next, Bowler?
The second one, the city issued a request for proposal for other post-employment benefits, actuarial evaluation services. All government employers are required to comply with GASB 45. The city currently offers post-employment health benefits to the tune of $250 contribution for medical benefits premiums for retirees. Also, we have what is called an implicit rate subsidy so that our retirees have the same rate as active employees. We had a total of 6 actuaries respond to the RFP. Menard Consulting at $2,800, Nyhart at $5,200, Econ Benefits at $3,875, Lewis and Ellis Inc. at $4,500, BPS and M LLC at $10,000, and Buck Consultants LLC at $5,700. This was presented to Ways and Means, and the recommendation is to select Menard Consulting for at $2,800.
Okay.
The second item is for the laser grading project. Every 3 years, the city laser grades the 3 ball fields at Brentwood Park. And the primary reason for this is to maintain safe playing surface for all the program participants on our ball fields and to ensure that there's proper drainage for the fields. The current vendor that provides this service is Schaefer Meyer Seed Sod, and their bid came in at $21,343. The second is from Fluorescent Sod Co. Inc. at $12,700. This was presented to the Public Works Committee, and the recommendation is for the selection of Fluorescent Sod Co.
Okay. Any questions? Good, thank you. Next item, hearing of matters of public interest upon request of any person present. If anybody would like to address the board, please come forward and give us your name and address. Sure. Well, sorry.
Good evening. My name is Karen Meyer, 8726 Pine Avenue, and I speak in support of Bill 5960 to prohibit texting while driving in the city of Brentwood. About a year ago, I was nearly struck at the driver's side as I was exiting the Chinook's parking lot to turn left onto Brentwood Boulevard. My light had gone green. I was the first car, and fortunately, I did a double take to my left. A huge red SUV was oblivious to the fact that that light had gone red for him. If I had pulled out, I may not be standing here today. I was very fortunate, and I saw him very plainly, and he was doing this. He was reading something off of his phone or whatever. So I do adamantly support the proposition.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Denise Sebbing, 2612 Porter, and I'm not here about the texting. I think that's a great idea, but what I'd like to talk about again is the tar on the street. Justin and Bola, late Friday this past Friday, you had indicated to us that the tar that was, carelessly spilled all down our street, that there are no solutions. You can't find solutions to fix it. I think that's unacceptable. If I, as a resident, would have spilled tar all down the whole street, not just in a little spot, but all down the street, I would have had to fix it or pay to fix it. The city cited the contractor who made this mess, so I can't understand why they can't be accountable. It seems that there's a double standard. If other people outside the city destroy our streets or destroy some of our property, oh well, we can't do anything. But if we destroy it, we need to fix it. Also, I've mentioned this numerous times, the boards at the corner of Hanley and Manchester. I understand from one of the aldermen who is going around talking to different individuals that those boards have been up for over 8 years. As a resident, I wouldn't be allowed to keep a construction board around my property for over 8 years. This wasn't intended to be a permanent structure. It's, 8 years. That's not temporary either. Again, I can't believe there aren't ordinances or requirements that limit this type of unsightly boarding. And I want to say shame to some of you Board of Aldermen meeting members, and you know who you are, not everybody. Some of you have done everything you can to try to assist the residents that live in that area, but others of you have either put roadblocks or refused or ignored our requests to try to address this situation. Andy and Keith, this is in your Ward 3, but you still continue to choose to ignore the pink elephant in our ward, and I think that's terrible. Trash truck ordinances, enforcements. Chief Fitzgerald, I want to thank you. I understand you did have an officer try to stay down in the area where the trash trucks have been picking up trash from 5 to 7 a.m. several mornings. I think one of the things I noticed when I went by on the way to work, I did see the officers there, so thank you. But I think they were sitting right next to the PDI facility, so even if a truck came by, I don't know that they would have been able to get through that area. So I'm hoping that you can continue to have your officers police that area, just to ensure that that ordinance is being enforced. And then for those of you, I don't know if some of you saw the article in the Saturday Post-Dispatch about the municipal courts and the references to some of the municipal courts. I just think that we should look at our own municipal court system. On our own website, Brentwood website, it's encouraged that people that get citations hire an attorney, because it said that our prosecuting attorney is very well-versed, and that to get a fair hearing, somebody needs to hire a lawyer. And I think some people can't afford that, and I think that's unfortunate. So I think we as a community need to look at our municipal court system before, we end up in the paper. Thank you.
Susan Ryan Pine. I'm glad that Denise touched on the municipal judicial system, because I will as well, because there are people who get tickets that just have them fixed, and there are those people who cannot afford them, and they do wind up having warrants sent out for their arrest. And so, probably not a popular position, and I have to read this, but I want to talk about the texting as well. I do not agree that a municipality that is 2 miles square should adopt this specific ordinance. Brentwood's focus should really be directed towards education efforts at our schools and other city campaigns for public safety. Although this initiative states that it is not punitive, ticketing is not the answer. I don't dispute the concerns or the dangers of distracted drivers. However, adopting ordinances at a municipal level is arbitrary. Individual municipal ordinances and ticketing is the basis of the current controversy of the municipal judicial courts. This should be a state mandate and not a municipal issue as someone drives through our 2 square miles. The intent is understood. However, ongoing education is the road to citizen awareness and compliance, and our push should be at the state level. Thank you.
Richard Klockner, 2854 Lawndale. I just wanted to, 3 quick points. As far as the MSD project is concerned, I do not want to have any problems with my foundation, any problems with my plaster, or any sinkholes in my yard. Brentwood is on a cave system. That needs to be taken into consideration. You can see the openings for the cave. And there's a sinkhole that was built on some property. So if it takes, on Russell, if it takes the boring business, that's the way to go. As far as the compensation packages for the police, I think we should be fair, not excessive. And that whole package is the pay, the benefits, all the benefits taken into consideration, sick leave, and all the other, that needs to be considered as a whole, because I understand that the benefits are negotiated as a package deal, so that all needs to be taken into consideration because it all costs money. And that's it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Close public comment. Move on to introduction and passage of bills. Is bill number 5953 coming off hold?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll be ready to take it off.
Can you make a motion to that effect?
Motion to bring 5953 back to the Board of Aldermen for consideration.
Okay. And all in favor of removing bill number 5953 from hold, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We can have a motion for the first and second readings of bills number 5953, 5959, 5960, 5961, 5962, and 5963. First and second readings only.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second? Second. And a first and second readings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. First reading of bill number 5953.
First reading bill number 5953 by title only, an ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances of the city of Brentwood, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri, establishing the same, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, except as herein expressly provided, providing for the manner of amending such code of ordinances, providing for penalty for the violation thereof, and providing when this ordinance shall become effective.
Thank you. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, Bill 5953, previously on hold, the Municipal Code statutory update. The Board of Aldermen in the City of Brentwood adopted a new code of ordinances at the November 17, 2014 meeting. Aside from the adoption of the recodified code of ordinances, the city also receives annual statutory updates from the general code. While undergoing the process to complete recodification, 2014 statutory material, bills that were adopted into law during the 97th Missouri General Assembly, were also included in the new code. And this ordinance needs to be adopted by the Board of Aldermen for those provisions to be effective. Bill 5953.
Thank you. Any questions? Alderman Leahy?
Like to thank the board for the courtesy extended to give me a time to get through the material. Thank you.
Alderwoman Sanders?
Can I ask, when will the ordinances adopted after November 17th be added to the code, or will we receive updates?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
When will the ordinances which have been adopted after November 17th to present be added to the code?
Everything up
Upon
until...
passage of this ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has because it says passed on or before November 17th.
So everything that has been passed by the board since then will be added on an annual basis. So we collect every ordinances that have been passed by the board at least twice a year, and then we include them in the code.
Okay, so December 2000, or the end of
14.
November, December 2014, we'll receive those at some point?
Right.
Okay, because for instance, in section 105.020, the elections are still listed as four-year terms?
So that change was made, we need to convey that to general code.
Okay, was that prior to November 17th? I think for the, when did we,
It was
That
the
was
last
done in
meeting, or the first meeting in December.
In
I believe.
December,
Yes,
right.
it was.
okay, because I wondered, it still is listed as four-year terms. And then we removed the mayor qualifications from the code. Is that just because it's state statute and you looked at the statute for it?
We removed the mayor's qualification?
Yeah, the one, it used to, in the old code, say resident of a city at least 1 year, 25 years of age, U.S. citizen. We took that out of the code. Is there,
I'm not aware of that.
okay.
I can check on that.
Okay.
I'm not aware that we removed that.
I mean, I feel like, I have it right here, because it used to be at the top of mayor, and it was removed, although it's still in the state statute, so I just didn't know if there was a decision.
It should be in there.
It should be in, okay, it's out of there. And then also, section 110.080, appointment of certain officers, the wording is not consistent with state statute. It should be the mayor, with the consent and approval of the majority of the members of the Board of Aldermen, is hereby authorized and empowered to appoint a city administrator, police chief, and the next part should be gone. Positions that are not otherwise provided for under this code, that should be removed. It should say officers as he may be authorized by ordinance to appoint, and if deemed in the best interest of the city. And then it goes on, and that's fine to stay there. But it's not consistent with the state statutes, so that's an issue. And then the other thing is, issue is page 110.5, actual section 110.200 compensation. It says the Board of Aldermen shall fix the compensation of all officers and employees on an annual basis in connection with its adoption of the city annual budget. That's not correct. 79-270 of the state statute says the Board of Aldermen shall have the power to fix the compensation of all of the officers and employees of the city by ordinance, but the salary of an officer shall not be changed during the time for which he is elected or appointed. It's important because we try to say that adoption of the health benefits for elected officials was done via the budget, but that's not right according to state statutes.
Are you asking me to make a change to that?
Yes, I mean, these changes, I think, need to be, I'm wondering if Frank, as city attorney, I mean, it has to be consistent with state statute in that section.
I don't believe it's inconsistent with state statute, but
In saying,
are these changes, that you're referencing changes that were made when the code was most recently recodified? Because the only thing I'm aware of tonight that is being addressed by this ordinance are the changes in the most recent legislative session.
right, well, it took me long enough to come up with the issues, and then to have to physically compare a new code of this size to another code would have been prohibitive in the time frame. But these were issues that I had when we adopted the last, which I had voted no to. But they're concerns, because I mean, also to the purchasing, the code, the purchases amounting to less than $10,000 within the budget, that read 2,000 in the past, and we had agreed to keep it at 2,000 at Ways and Means. So I don't know how you want to handle these issues.
But did Ways and Means bring that forward to Board of Alderman?
Yes, we did. We looked at that when we were changing the purchasing code. Do you recall that, Alderman Kramer? Because I thought we
I
agreed.
think those would be separate from this bill, though. We're talking about, okay.
Yes. But I mean, I'm saying is it should have gotten in, we shouldn't have changed the code, increased it to $10,000.
But I thought we, good, I thought we did.
What has been the practice since the code was adopted last year was that individual aldermen would bring to the city administrator's attention specific code sections that they would want to take up in a Public Works Ways and Means Committee, and then that committee would discuss it, and then we would bring it back to the board. So I'm happy to take those back to the respective committees, but none of them have been presented to me today.
Okay, that was how Alderman Alderman Leahy chose to do it. He said that we would go ahead and adopt the budget without reviewing it, and then go back, and things that we thought were not laws that we didn't want in place or not consistent with state statute, we go back and change later. I had disagreed with the way this code came before us from the beginning, in the fact that the changes weren't brought up through committee, and no way to get a red line copy to review the changes to the code. And I felt like, since that's one of our biggest, we're a legislative body, and we set the code, it's important that we know what's in the code and what changes are being made to the code. I don't need to go on. I can type these up and send them back to committee. But again, I voted no the first time around this came before the board, and I'll do so again.
And we've asked, or I've asked multiple
Kind of like a
times.
Nancy Pelosi.
I've asked multiple times at the board level for, if there were any concerns or changes or questions, that they submit those changes to the city administrator so we could verify those and maybe address those issues. So, again, that would be the practice, is that, if you have a concern about an ordinance or whether it was transferred properly, submit that to the city administrator so that we can review that and verify the change or make the correction where needed. So.
I will move forward in that way. The other thing I have is that the adopting ordinance on the second page, but it starts with section 3. There's certain ordinances that, regardless of this new code, they cannot be repealed, and it lists the various types of those ordinances. And we deleted the ordinance conferring any rights or franchise, ordinances adopted for purposes which have been consummated, ordinances pertaining to the compensation of any city officer or employee or any personnel policy, ordinance pertaining to any retirement, disability, or other pension or benefit accrued or accruing to any person, ordinances annexing territory to the city, ordinances naming, renaming, opening, accepting, or vacating streets or alleys in the city, ordinance pertaining to the adoption or the amendment of the comprehensive plan, any ordinance which is temporary, although general in effect, or special, although permanent in effect, ordinance rezoning specific property. And then there was one ordinance listed that was adopted June 16th, but I don't know if that now is included. It was to do with the flood maps. Is there a reason that we dropped these items from the adopting ordinance?
The primary reason for those is there's a number of ordinances in the city that are not codified within the code, such as the TIF developments, which are adopted by ordinances, numerous contracts that are adopted by ordinance, various zoning matters, and those are set out specifically to clarify that they are in no way being repealed by the adoption of this.
What I'm saying is when we adopt the November 17th version of the code, the items that I read were on that adopting ordinance, but they've now been removed from this adopting ordinance.
I'm not sure I follow what you're saying.
Okay, the items...
Well, again, could maybe you submit that and we can verify it, because, you know, we can
Okay.
move forward on.
Well, I mean, ordinances pertaining to the compensation of any city officer is a little bit more important, or any personnel policy. Those would withstand, and that should be in there, do you think, as a listing? I mean, it was in there before?
Well, again, I think if that's a separate ordinance and contract with, you know, setting that the pay for an officer of the city, we're talking about like city administrator or other police's department heads that may have agreements with the city, that those are outside of the code, I think is what the city attorneys are saying, and that they're not being altered by the adoption of this code.
Right, but what I'm saying is the list that I read usually is included as being, you can't, they're outside of the code. But these items were eliminated from the adopting ordinance this time around. They were there when we adopted it November 17th, but now they're removed.
These are just the changes, that's because these are just, we've already adopted that, if I'm understanding you correctly, and these are just the changes that were changed within the state code so that we're complying with the state code. So
I'm
we
just
don't have
saying-
to redo it again if it's already in there.
But the adopting ordinance has to be correct.
But you're saying we already adopted one ordinance, right?
And the new one, but now we're adopting this one, right? Because
For
the-
these new changes.
Right, but we changed the adopting ordinance. Not just the date, we actually changed the content.
I don't believe that's true.
Okay.
Okay. Second reading.
Second reading, bill number 5953 by title only, an ordinance adopting and enacting a new code of ordinances of the city of Brentwood, county of St. Louis, state of Missouri, establishing the same, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, except as herein expressly provided, providing for the manner of amending such code of ordinances, providing penalty for the violation thereof, and providing when this ordinance shall become effective.
Okay. We have a motion? So moved. And second?
Second, Your Honor.
We had a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
No.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bannister?
No.
Alderwoman Saunders?
No.
Okay.
Bill number 5953 is now ordinance number 4614.
Thank you. First reading of bill number 5959.
First reading, bill number 5959 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Menard Consulting, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the subject of an earlier public meeting and public presentation, Bill number 5959, the results of the other post-employment benefits, OPEB actuarial evaluation services. That's a request for proposal for GASB 45. The bill authorizes the mayor of the city of Brentwood to execute an agreement on behalf of the city of Brentwood with Menard Consulting Incorporated. That is for the post-employment benefits actual evaluation services. Our Ways and Means Committee has reviewed the contract and forwarded the request to the Board of Aldermen with a positive recommendation. Bill 5959.
Great. Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading, bill number 5959 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute an agreement with Menard Consulting, Inc., and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. We have a motion?
Move for adoption, Your Honor.
Second?
Second.
We Got a first and a second? Roll call?
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5959 is now ordinance number 4615.
Thank you. First reading of Bill number 5960.
First reading Bill number 5960 by title only, an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 300 of the Revised Code of Ordinances of the City of Brentwood, Missouri, by adding new sections 340.161 and 340.162 to prohibit texting while driving for all age groups in the City of Brentwood, Missouri, providing for the maintenance of this code, providing for the effective date of this ordinance, and providing for the repeal of all conflicting ordinances.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the Bill 5960 covers our distracted driving ordinance proposal, covers a bill for an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 300 of the Revised Code of Ordinances for the City of Brentwood, Missouri, and adds new sections 340.161, 340.162, and that's to prohibit texting while driving for all age groups in the City of Brentwood, Missouri. Currently, the state of Missouri law requires and regulates texting while driving to those under the age of 21. This bill would ban texting while driving for those 21 years of age and older. The Public Safety Committee made a motion for staff to prepare an ordinance for presentation to the Board of Aldermen with a positive recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions? Alderman Tui?
How many other municipalities in the area have this, similar type of legislation?
Chief Fitzgerald?
I know Kirkwood was the first, I think, but
Then Manchester, City of
And
Manchester as
Manchester.
well.
The cities that I know of, Manchester, Kirkwood, Florissant, O'Fallon, St. John. Those are the ones that I know.
Do we know if this has changed behavior of those driving through the municipalities?
I do not know.
okay. I will say, you know, this is maybe a difficult thing for a municipality to pass, given, you know, how our community as a whole, but I think what it's also doing is sending a message to the state legislators that they need to change the state code. You know, we were one of the first municipalities, I believe actually the second, to ban smoking in St. Louis County, and ultimately went to a vote of St. Louis County residents to ban it in restaurants and so forth in St. Louis County. So sometimes, as awkward as it might sound to have an ordinance like this, I do think it sends a message to the state and also the county government that we need to look at this issue and resolve it. So there is, I think, a benefit to having an ordinance like this. Alderman Kramer.
Yes, Your Honor. Just a little bit further background. I know that you were in favor of bringing this initially. This has been before Public Safety more than once. I think the first time it was discussed, there was a question mark amongst the committee members about whether or not and what the timing would be if the state legislature was going to come forward. We decided at that time, the committee did, to place the information on hold pending possible movement forward by the state legislature. And I think, myself included, there were some other members that maybe wondered to themselves, including the police chief at the time that had the information, how much longer were we going to go and wait before the state legislature made the active move before we were going to do it ourselves. And we decided, I believe, the committee did, to take a look at the information. I believe this is modeled after Manchester. Is that right, Chief? Another state municipality that hopefully the state will look for as their own model in bringing this forward to the Board of Aldermen's consideration. So I think the only harm in passing something like this at this juncture is that perhaps the state might have something in conflict with us in the future. If so, we'll change it at that time.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Saunders.
First of all, is the portion of this ordinance that relates to those under 21 consistent with the state statute?
There's nothing inconsistent with state statute. This really has to do with the police power of the municipality to govern the safety and protection of its citizens.
Okay, so the violation for those under 21 is deemed a moving violation. That's consistent with the state statute?
I believe so, yes.
It is. I mean, that's an important thing because that's a big deal.
Well, the state has to say, we can't make moving violations on our own, if I'm not mistaken. That has to be established by the state.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because then for the over 21, It's just an offense against public safety. And the fine for the infraction, public safety, shall be set by the municipal court from time to time. So it doesn't seem like they get a moving violation.
Well, that's because we can't establish a moving violation on
Okay.
our own. Right.
And then also, could I, just the rationale of public safety, Susan makes a good point, and I hadn't really thought about that, but then now thinking if it puts pressure on the state, I mean, it is something that needs to be addressed. I don't want it to become a burden for our policemen. I think we have to make sure that they're focused on just keeping us safe, and I don't want them to have to worry about issuing tickets or that. I mean, I think the press up at the state level is to reduce the amount of income we can get from tickets, so I kind of want to make sure that tickets are more for safety and not for revenue generating.
This item was actually presented to public safety by the police chief because there was concern that was brought forward by the police chief and officers that they were beginning to see more people commit this kind of offense, texting while driving. So this was at their own initiative. It's more focused on traffic safety for everyone on our streets, and it has absolutely nothing to do with revenue generation.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Harper.
Can someone refresh me on the vote at public safety, because I don't remember it getting a positive recommendation to go to the board.
There was a positive recommendation to draft an ordinance and present it to the Board of Aldermen.
Okay. Because I know we talked about just distracted driving in general as opposed to just a texting, because it's going to be hard for police officers to enforce that, you know, not knowing. I mean, I just think that's a hard ordinance to try to enforce, and the fact that what's going to be the signage that people know coming into Brentwood that, hey, you're over 21, you can't text in Brentwood, as opposed to just a police officer starting pulling people over when they see them texting. Since it's legal in certain municipalities to be over 21 and text, but in Brentwood you can't. How are people going to know that driving through Brentwood?
I don't know.
Signage.
Put out a press release, put it on our website. You know. So, I mean, that's what the other municipalities did. Yeah, so. Alderman Tui, did you have a comment?
I've got a question again with the language, and Alderman Harper mentioned distracted drivers. What if they're using a smartphone for a different purpose, but they're looking at it? How would this fall under? How would the police officer know? Was it a text? Were they on Facebook? Were they sending an email?
Good point.
I just
Chief
don't know.
Fitzgerald, do you want to answer that?
Or GPS,
Right.
MapQuest.
We're just looking to see who's calling.
Okay, in the last month, I have seen with my own two eyes this sitting on top of a steering wheel with thumbs moving. Okay, that's what we're going to enforce. Obviously, it's going to be really difficult for us to be able to tell the difference between someone who is reading a text and physically texting, someone who is talking on the phone, holding the phone up here. But when we see somebody holding the phone up here, sometimes it's really simple. With the thumbs moving, that's what we're going to do. This whole thing is not meant to be a punitive type thing. We're not going to set up roadblocks to look for texts. What we want to do is, and it's been brought up here several times, is we want to make more awareness that this is dangerous, and this is, in my estimation, I think this is terrifying. When you see people, you know, we used to see people driving down the street 10 miles an hour, and we figured they were drunk. Now they're doing this. That's why they're doing it. And you see people weaving in and out of traffic down Brentwood Boulevard constantly. This is an awareness type of thing. This is not going to be a campaign that we're going to go out and start writing a lot of tickets. None of these other municipalities that have done this have done that. I spoke with the clerk at Kirkwood, and she said she could count on one hand the amount of tickets they've wrote since July. So I see that similar type thing going on here in Brentwood. It's not going to be a big ticket writing thing, but it is going to be a safety thing. And I think the awareness part and the publicity will be by the city and by people like the two cameras standing here in the corner. That kind of word will get out.
And Chief, right now, it's actually even a little bit more cumbersome, because if you see somebody doing that right now, you have to determine whether they're over or under 21.
Right. Which is
because, I mean, it's a cumbersome law to enforce anyway, because of the way that, again, state statute was written, so, or the state laws were written, so.
Excuse me. My question would be, why couldn't you already ticket that person for dangerous driving?
We could.
Yeah. Okay.
You could always find something. It's just, it would be nice to have something that fit into the hole that leads you. And I think at some point in time, this will be state law and all this will be a whole lot easier, so.
Okay.
It's just, we're just a little slow here in this state sometimes.
No doubt. So, thanks. Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5960 by title only, an ordinance amending Title III, Chapter 300 of the Revised Code of Ordinances of the City of Brentwood, Missouri by adding new sections 340.161 and 340.162 to prohibit texting while driving for all age groups in the City of Brentwood, Missouri, providing for the maintenance of this code, providing for the effective date of this ordinance, and providing for the repeal of all conflicting ordinances.
Okay. You have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
And
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, first and second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
No.
Alderman Nguyen?
No.
Alderman Robertson?
No.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
No.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right, first reading of bill number 5961.
First reading, Bill number 5961 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a release and settlement agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and AT&T Corp. And providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, a bit of a housekeeping measure. Bill 5961, the AT&T settlement agreement. This bill covers an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator, the City of Brentwood, to enter into and execute a settlement agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and AT&T. In April 2013, the city renewed a contract with AT&T, which reflected the governmental rate. However, since that time, AT&T's records did not reflect this as such. They continue to charge the city the non-government rate. The difference in fees was not paid, and the city disputed those charges. AT&T now agrees with the City of Brentwood and would like to settle the dispute. The total to be credited to the city's account includes $27,896.19, plus late payment charges of $10,356, which equals a grand total of $38,252.19. This bill, if approved, will remove the outstanding balance. The Ways and Means Committee recommends this be presented to the Board of Aldermen with a positive recommendation. This is Bill 5961.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5961 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a release and settlement agreement between the City of Brentwood, Missouri and AT&T Corp. And providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion, please.
Motion to perfect Bill 5961 into ordinance form, Your Honor.
Second? Motion is made by Alderman Leahy, second by Alderman Tui. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Manister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5961 is now ordinance number 4616.
Okay, first reading, bill number 5962.
First reading, Bill number 5962 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a contract on behalf of the City of Brentwood, Missouri with Flores and Sod Company and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Bill 5962, the bid document on the Brentwood Park laser grading project. Bill covers an ordinance to enter into and execute an agreement and a contract on behalf of the City of Brentwood with the Flores and Sod Company for a laser grading project at Brentwood Park. Laser grading is a generally completed project every 2 years in order to maintain safe playing surfaces for all program participants and to ensure proper drainage for the fields. Our Public Works Committee has recommended and reviewed this presentation, Bill number 5962, with a positive recommendation.
Okay. Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill number 5962 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a contract on behalf of the City of Brentwood, Missouri with Flores and Sod Company and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to perfect Bill 5962 into ordinance form.
Second.
Okay. We had a first and second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Minister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Bill number 5962 is now ordinance number 4617.
Okay, thank you. First reading of bill number 5963.
First reading, Bill Number 5963 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a computer-assisted report entry and record analysis and mapping system service agreement with St. Louis County, Missouri, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Oh, synopsis, I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. The subject of Bill number 5963 is CARE, the Computer-Assisted Report Entry and Record Analysis and Mapping System, RAMS Service Agreement. St. Louis County Police Department has requested the City of Brentwood to approve and execute an agreement for a Computer-Assisted Report Entry and Record Analysis and Mapping System Service Agreement. There is no cost associated with this agreement, and it will, with St. Louis County, provide to the City of Brentwood the same CARE and RAMS processing services as it provides to the unincorporated portion of St. Louis County. The county shall provide basic care services, which consist of 24-hour day telephone patrol duties.
Okay. Any questions? Second reading, please.
Second reading, Bill Number 5963 by title only, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a computer-assisted report entry and record analysis and mapping system service agreement with St. Louis County, Missouri, and providing for the effective date of this ordinance.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to perfect Bill 5963 into ordinance form.
And second? Second. We had a first and second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderwoman Minister?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Thank you.
Bill number 5963 is now ordinance number 4618.
Okay. Next item, counts against the city.
Yes, Your Honor, I have reviewed and recommend approval of today's warrant list, including the charge of $109,966.78 and a pass-through amount of $12,725.99.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second, Your Honor, let's pay some bills.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Next item, actually, if I get a motion to move Excise Commissioner up to the beginning of reports of Committee of Department Heads.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? George, you're up.
Get up here.
Two items of business. Number one, St. Mary Magdalene is asking for a temporary liquor license to serve beer, wine, and margaritas on the 15th and 16th of May for their annual church picnic.
Okay. Any questions? We have a motion, please.
Motion to approve the request, Your Honor.
And second.
Second.
We had a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Okay. the
Actually,
sec-
are representatives here from Total Wine? I just want to make sure you're present. Okay, thank you.
Great, they're here. Yes, we have a new business coming to town called Total Wine and More. They plan to open in fall of this year. And they have stores in 16, I think, different states around the country. And they're moving into the old Golf Galaxy building down in Promenade. And I'm asking for a letter of intent to be authorized by the board so that they can proceed with their permits, et cetera. So that's what I'm asking for tonight, so they can.
Why wouldn't we just go ahead and approve the liquor license, George?
Because they haven't got all their permits yet from the state or the city of Brentwood for the business license.
Oh, okay.
We did this for Bonefish, if you remember.
I think we did it for Trader Joe's as well. Okay, thank you. Alderman Leahy.
Motion to approve a request for intent for liquor license upon successful completion of all permits for the state.
Okay. And second?
Second.
Okay, we had a first and a second. I know the representatives have come here and have been waiting, so
Did they bring samples?
David? Would you like to say something?
Not here.
That's David.
So George, okay, you all right? Okay. Well, if you'd like to maybe come up and introduce yourselves and Total Wines, I know this is new to St. Louis market, and we'd like to welcome you to Brentwood, so.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. My name is David Trone, and I'm the CEO, the president, and my brother and I own the company. And we're in 16 different states, and we're really excited to be here in Missouri. It should be a great fun, and I think you'll really have some good times at the store.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your store, because it's pretty impressive, some of the things you do for the community and those kinds of things.
We carry a very large selection of products, about 8,000 wines, thousands of spirits and craft beer. And we also have a classroom. We work with the community in a book a room and allow the room to be used for free with the town. We work with nonprofits all over the United States. Last year we worked with over 5,000 nonprofits, from epilepsy to autism to the Dallas Symphony, and donate over $5 million to various nonprofits. And we see that connectivity with the community is key to our success. You know, we're a family business. We've been doing this for 23 years. We've never once closed a store in 23 years, and we have the most enviable record in the country on service to minors, and we work hand in hand with the local police department, and we're extremely diligent in that area, which is so important.
Great. And most importantly, this will be the first store to open, right?
We're hopeful. Depends on how those permits go on construction.
Okay, all right. Alderman Kramer?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
There was a question about, does your company have its own brand of liquors, wine and beer, or is it just purveyor of?
No, we're a retailer, so we buy everything through the three-tier system. It comes from the winery, distillery, brewery, over to the wholesalers, and then to us at this point.
Okay.
So we're a retailer like some other large stores or like the groceries here.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thanks again for
Thank you
coming.
very much.
And we look forward to the new store. Thank you.
Mayor Kelly, can we
Yes.
have a vote?
Yes,
on
I'm
this?
going to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We had a first and a second, right? And motion, please. Roll call, please.
Alderman Harper?
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen?
Yes.
Alderman Robertson?
Yes.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Tui?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Manister?
Yes.
Alderman Saunders?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next item, under the mayor's report. I did want to point out one thing, which kind of separates Brentwood's courts from some of the other ones throughout St. Louis County. We are one of the few courts that still has an elected judge instead of having an appointed judge, which the city has talked about before in the past, but I think it makes the judge more responsive to the citizens, opposed to maybe getting into some of the other issues that some of the other municipalities are having. Another thing that Brentwood actually, we implemented this about 7 years ago. We do have a public defender at the courts as well. Not all the courts supply a public defender, but that is part of our process here in the city of Brentwood. So if somebody needs some advice or some help, we do supply a public defender as well. And again, not all the courts do that. So I think that kind of sets us apart. And I also think you could see in the article that was in the paper, the percentages per capita, the number of the revenue per capita and so forth. Brentwood was right in the middle. I think it was $59 per resident per year. But I think our number per capita was way down at the bottom as far as the tickets go in this area. And the thing that they don't take into account is the working populations within those communities as well. We have about 8,000 residents, but we have about 30,000 people that work here in Brentwood, not to mention the amount of traffic that goes through here every day. So I think our police do an outstanding job, and so do our courts. So, Alderman Nguyen.
As chairman of public safety, too, we've never had a comment about trying to come up with more revenue because of tickets.
That's true.
In fact, we've had tickets on the slide lately, but I don't think any of us would tolerate that, trying to up the tickets just to get more money for our budget.
That's absolutely correct. So thank you. Next item under the mayor's report, Chief Drury, we have a command staff update. Or are you ready to do that, Senator? Or would you rather wait till next meeting? Okay. That's all under the mayor's report. Public Safety Committee.
No, so we meet Thursday, 5:30.
Okay. Public Works Committee,
No report, Your Honor.
Ways and Means, anything further?
Yes, Your Honor, we've had our meeting for March. The next one is the second Tuesday of the month, will be April 14th at 6:30 here in Chambers.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney?
No report, Your Honor.
City Clerk?
Yes, Mayor Kelly. The city would like authorization to join two purchasing cooperatives, namely National Joint Powers Alliance, the Cooperative Purchasing Network, and to renew and update our purchasing profile with U.S. Communities. All the vendors that participate in these purchasing cooperatives have competitively bid for the services and items that they provide. And with the renovation of the community center, we have an opportunity to purchase items at a discounted rate. So if there could be a motion and authorization on that.
Any questions? We have a motion, please?
So moved.
And second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. And anything else?
The YouTube. YouTube.
YouTube, oh, yeah.
Accuse myself.
Well, that's fine.
You want
Number
me
of
to-
residents brought up, I thought one of the aldermen might bring it up at the last meeting, videotaping and presenting the candidate forum this Thursday, right? Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday on YouTube, and the city would help facilitate that through our media work. So I think that's something that everybody's in agreement with, but we need to actually approve that here at the Board of Aldermen, unless there's some discussion.
I'm questioning, Kevin, if we do this, we're not in any violation of the FCC things for the station?
Please stand by.
He's leaving, you must know.
microphone.
I'm teasing Kevin.
The YouTube, it does not fall under the FCC guidelines for a public educational or government, what they call the PEG channels, which is what we operate under. And by our charter or by the regulations we have, we never set it up as a public. It was simply educational and governmental. Technically, I think we could even put it on our UVerse and
Charter,
but certainly no references anything to the YouTube. You could put basically whatever you want.
Kevin, I'm happy when I can remember my passwords to turn my computer on. So, being on YouTube, is there any ability for somebody to edit or change that once it's been put on?
No.
Okay.
No. When I load them up, there are different aspects where, for example, they could leave comments about a video, which would mean we'd have to monitor it almost 24/7. To make sure that there was nothing out of line as far as comments. So it is not downloadable. It is not, there are no ways to make comments. It is simply a player.
Okay.
Now, there are third-party programs where, and depending on the computer system, if you want to spend enough money, you could probably download it. But we have no control over that whatsoever.
Okay. Is there any way you can turn off the comments so that people can't make comments on the video?
Can or cannot.
Can you turn that off so they can't do that? So that
That's
it's
the
just
way it's set up now.
Okay, good.
There are no comments available.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean that people can't make comments about the video.
Correct. That's
Okay.
the way.
Okay,
That's the way.
good. Yeah, it
No
should be.
comments allowed.
Okay.
No downloading allowed.
Okay.
Or embedding. That's another classification. Embedding mean they could simply take the code, copy it over to their website or something.
Right.
Which also would probably give them the opportunity to do whatever they want to with it, and that's not allowed either.
Good.
It is very tight, if you will.
Great. Okay. Any other questions? Alderman Mansur?
Since he said it was okay, or there weren't any violations to put it on the Brentwood channel, could we do that as well? Have it on the Brentwood channel and upload it to the Brentwood YouTube account? I'm just inquiring.
We'd have to reprogram everything, but yes, it could be done. We would have to get we have to get a video file from them to do anything, whoever's videotaping it, so.
They could provide that,
Yeah.
is what I think.
And again, that is up to you. I don't think we have a communications committee anymore, but I think it would be within the guidelines.
Since it's equal time for every candidate.
Correct.
That's
And
right.
moderated.
I think you're part of the motion.
So, Kevin, and I'm sorry, but are you going to be doing it for the YouTube, or is that, I thought we would,
The file will be provided to the city,
and
and then
then
I
we
will
were
pass
just
it
going to
along to
upload
Kevin
it?
to
Okay,
upload it.
all right. So would you
In
be
fact,
able to
I'm not
use
gonna
that?
be in town.
Okay, but we'd be able to use that same file and put it on the TV station?
Sure.
Okay, good, all right. Yeah, that's fine, okay. All right, you want to amend the motion to include it for the Brentwood channel?
Yes.
In the
And
second?
if you do that, I would suggest you put the time limit on it, as to how long, 1 day, 2 days, until the election, et cetera, that's entirely up to you. But that will, I am sure, alter the viewing of the planning and zoning meetings, as well as the Board of Alderman meetings, because there's not enough time in between them to put all of that. So I say it will require complete reprogramming, where the YouTube, you can go to at any time, watch it 24/7, whenever you click on it.
So that would cost the city money, because Kevin will have to do the reprogramming.
No, yeah. So,
Well, it was just an idea, just a thought.
well, I mean, is it
I just
something we
was
want to
gonna
move
see
forward
what-
with or not?
Well-
I mean,
What's the motion on the floor?
well, right now, the motion is just for the YouTube. so-
Yes, yeah.
Okay, do you want to leave it there?
Leave it.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right.
I
Is that
was
Alderman,
gonna say, could we just put something on the Brentwood channel to
tell them to go
direct people
there?
to the
People.
YouTube?
Yeah, we can do a slide.
Yeah,
Little slide?
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, put the web, or how they get there, yeah. Great, good idea. We'll put it on the web, on our website as well, so. Okay, we had a motion to upload that to the YouTube. All in favor, say aye.
Can
All opposed?
can you tell me again who was first and who was second?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was,
I'll second.
I think it was, was it you and me?
I thought it was, yeah, I thought it was Alderman Nguyen and Alderman Harper.
I had to watch it on the Brentwood channel to make
So
sure.
Wynn and Harper? Okay.
Either way, Harper and Wynn, it doesn't matter. I don't have to have first one.
Okay. So,
send them the check.
library, anything further?
No.
Municipal League, nothing. Historical
No,
Society?
Not this time.
We do not have another closed meeting. Any unfinished business? Any new business? Alderman Lay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ward 3 meeting for the month of March is Tuesday night, the 31st of March at 7 o'clock up here. Tomorrow is the wearing of the green, and please go out and enjoy. Tradition has it that a lot of people enjoy beverages with it. Just please be careful.
Thank you. Hearing of any matters of public interest, if anybody would like to address the board, please come forward, give us your name and address.
Susan Ryan Pine. Well, I had no idea that we were being taped for anything so specific, because I do wholeheartedly agree that we shouldn't be texting. But I can't see how we can enforce it. I can't see how that, because I'll be driving down the road looking so that I can see where I'm going. But I do see it as a very important issue, and it needs to be pushed at the state. So I hope that we didn't have to piecemeal it municipality by municipality to try and push it there. But maybe we can get some grassroots moving and that we're on tape. But it's an immense issue. I've known various people who've had very serious accidents, and hopefully we can get there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Mark Wilson, Haddon. I just want to say, I know I can speak for Chris Thornton, and I believe I can speak for Alderman Tui and myself and say thank you very much for getting that up on YouTube. We appreciate it.
Great.
Karen Smith Harrison. So I'd gone to the Ways and Means Committee, and I know there was some discussion about the compensation survey that was done, and I don't know what the closed session was about beforehand. So will the summary, identify what the topic was, and then if there was a vote taken, will that be in the summary? And in regards to compensation, I don't know if that was what was discussed in closed session, but my hope is that the board will take some time to digest the information in that compensation survey and determine what the policy is going to be and how we're going to use it, because we spent a lot of money on it, and just to ignore it would be, wasteful spending of tax dollar money. So I think we have an obligation as a city to take a hard look at that and determine how we're going to use it. I think there were some good suggestions in there, and I've heard a lot of good suggestions made by different individuals on the board, as well as, citizens in general. So I think there's some information that we could use going forward. Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, we are adjourned.